Halloween.
Forever.
Hey, Steve, what's up?
Hello, Brian.
Shut up, I'm mad at you.
Yes.
Watch this movie. You know how vampires love to like bite people's throats? That's like a big part of vampirism.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then they kill them and then they bring them back to life sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's like it's part of it. You know why that is?
Why?
It's because they're necromancers. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking Minisode of Halloween's Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Champ.
This movie got me fucked up. It's got me. My jokes are dog shit this week. We were talking before we got on the old podcast, started hitting record here. This movie's confounding. That's the best way I can describe it. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why it exists. I don't know why it exists in the state in which it exists. I'm intrigued to talk about it. I've been looking forward to talking about it. I've been looking forward to venting about it. And I hated it. So let's spoiler alert there. It's dog shit. There's a couple of slightly redeeming parts. It doesn't feel like a Dario Argento movie at all. We'll get into all that. It's distressing to me.
The movie itself might be a vampire because it leaves you tired and confused and you're just not sure of what just happened for the last 2 hours.
I feel physically drained after watching this movie. And the fact that this movie should be a tight 48 minutes, but instead it's an hour and 50, and it's so full of just fluff, and I hate it so much. All right, let's not get into it too quickly. We got some other things we got to do here, but guys, if you didn't look at the title that you clicked on, first of all, you're crazy, you're a psycho, you're wild, man. We are going to be discussing Dracula 3D, aka Dario Argento's Dracula. I want to know what the 3D stands for, because I don't think it's the three dimensions. I am going to speculate that the 3Ds are, the first D is Dracula, obviously. The second two Ds are for double Ds for them big old boobies, because there are some big old boobies in this movie. That was really its own redeeming quality. But I couldn't help but think, we watched an Argento movie last week in the Showdown. Guys, spoiler alert, if you didn't listen to the September Showdown, you should. But it was a lot of fun. We had Matt from Decaying with the Boys on. It's just a ridiculously diverse set of movies. I defended Pieces from 1982, which these fucking lackeys you didn't get it. It was over your head. That's what I'm gonna stick to.
I voted for Pieces.
You rat fucks. Matt brought Shocker to the party, which is a fun watch and a fun discussion, but it's just a weird, dumb movie that he has. Listen, I can't be throwing stones here in this glass house. I oftentimes pick movies that I know are dumb and weird. Pieces maybe being one of them that I just want to talk about and defend. This was one of Matt's favorite schlock movies. And then Steve, classic Steve pick. He goes with the Dario Argento movie that he could talk about the cinematography and all that stuff. And he picked Opera, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It was a great film.
Legitimately great movie. But Dario Argento also has this.
I was going to say, we went from opera to soap opera somehow. I don't know why. I'm very confused as to where this came from and who thought it was a good idea. Anyway, Steve took home the fucking strap for September. So going into WrestleMania, going into October, going into the main event of the year, Steve is the defending champ. While we're on the topic, let's talk about real quick. Actually, let's talk about some beers. Then we'll talk about what is going to happen for October, because we got a fucking burner for yins for October. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really looking forward to. It's going to be fucking wild. Now, let's talk about some beers first of all.
Yes.
What do you got? You got a little beer over there or what?
I got a little beer. I got a little simple beer. I ain't going too crazy. Just a little something for the champ to celebrate with. Mm-hmm. And I broke out a Castile Rouge.
Oh, that's all. An old fave.
Yeah, just a classic cherry donker.
It's interesting. I've kind of got a beer that is nothing like that, but for some reason it's reminding me of it. I think because it does have a little bit of it's got some sweetness to it. It's a little bit of a chunky boy, not chunky in the gloop glop sense, just got some residual carbohydrates. I am drinking from our friends at Schlenkerla. I'm drinking the Lenten beer.
Yeah.
Schlenkerla, we talked about it. Steve was just drinking on that cherry smoked, I think it was cherry smoked Bock beer, maybe a couple weeks ago.
It's a red ale.
Yeah, I had that one recently too. Holy shit, that was a tasty one. Cherry wood as opposed to the standard beechwood smoked malt that you get in most of the Rauch or Schlenkerla beers. This one's kind of interesting. Lenten beer, historically speaking, was stronger, higher gravity. Kind of like you get like a celebratory beer for Advent, like a Christmas ale or something, because it's higher ABV. Historically speaking, in like times of fasting for, people living in monasteries, back kind of monastic brewing traditions of hundreds of years ago, they would drink, they would fast during these periods. They wouldn't eat anything from sun up to sundown. So these fucking monks or whatever would just drink a bunch of beer and get their caloric intake for the day. And people were like, oh, they're strong beer, Doppelbock, stuff like that. But they're actually just, potentially higher ABV than average everyday drinking beer, but they just were way less attenuated. It's just a lot more sugar. So higher gravity beer, but not necessarily higher alcohol beer, just because they weren't fermented out. They just leave a lot of residual carbohydrates in the beer. That's how they get all their, calories for the day. This is almost, I think, more akin to that in that kind of traditional Lenten beer sense. It says on the back that it has a mix of unsmoked and smoked malts. So it's definitely not as smoky as even the Märzen or certainly the Urbach. But it is 5.9, so almost 6%. So not high, but it is quite sweet. So it's got quite a bit of residual carbohydrates. So I think that's the kind of classic Lenten beer tradition.
So it sounds like they use like a lot of the unsmoked malts to bump it up and give it that sugar and sweetness.
Maybe, or maybe they just, I don't know. I don't know if they're because pale malts typically make for higher attenuated beer as opposed to like stuff with, more specialty malts, that sort of thing. I don't know, but it is quite sweet and chewy and feels a lot bigger than 5.9%, not by alcohol warmth, but just that body. Mm-hmm. And then it's got, very pronounced smoke, but it's not quite as aggressive as, the Urbach or the Märzen, but it is that beechwood smoke. It's that super savory, hammy type of smoke character to it, but it's damn tasty. I'm not gonna kick it out of bed for eating crackers. That's for sure. So a couple other things we got to do at the top of the show here. First of all, if you haven't already, go over and follow us on the social medias. For those of you who are new to the show, this time of year, we get a bunch of fucking freeloaders coming over here just thinking they could just listen to whatever podcast they want to. They just come over and go, oh, free podcast. Num, 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 num. Eat the content. That's fine. But here's how it goes. This is called Halloween is Forever, not Halloween just September and October. So get the fuck on board here, guys. Get with the program, understand, become a student of the game here. Here's what we do. Every Monday, we put out some spicy, salty, sweet content on the internet. Usually it's one of these here mini episodes like we're doing right now. But we also, every single first Monday of the month, we do a Showdown episode where me, Steve, and a guest go head to head to head. And we have a whole bunch of topics on this big old spinny wheel of us, constantly evolving list of topics. They might be genres, they might be performers, they might be directors, whatever. We spin that wheel 3 times. We get 3 different selections. We put them out there on the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, most notably, but we also have a whole bunch of other social medias. You can catch us on the TikToks and the what do you call Twitter / Twix, right? It's Twitter / X right now. Yeah. We got all that kind of stuff. Quick check-in side note: do shit still be tight on this on the threads? That's what I want to know.
Should still be tight on the threads.
Yeah,
still get better engagement on Twix, and it's less, like full of anti-Semitism and racism.
It's slightly less racist and less. Yeah, gotcha.
The only thing is just like I need dumb Mark Zuckerberg to just implement a few more features.
Yeah,
it's just missing features. That's all it is. That's all the people want.
Come on, give us you features. Dumb nerd. Do something with your fucking life. Anyway, follow us on the social medias, and you can vote for which one of those 3 topics get picked. Once it get picked, each of us, myself, Steve, the guest, they will, we'll pick a movie or whatever that's associated with that topic, whatever this topic dictates. Then during that Showdown episode, we'll each present our argument about why our movie is the best. Someone catches a steel chair upside the head. Someone, does the cross and launches himself off the top of the Hell in the Cell, fucking Shane O'Mac style, whatever. Ultimately, someone takes home that son of a bitchin' championship strap for the month. Like I said, Steve took it home in the last Showdown episode. So he's been strutting around Giant Eagle with that son of a bitch, just fucking buying cider and his chip chopped ham and just swinging that fucking belt around like he owns the place.
Sidey do be back, yo.
I know. It's Sidey season, boys and ghouls. Get out there, get on top of it, hit it while it's fresh. Here's what we're going to do for October. The last 2 years, this will be our 3rd Halloween episode, believe it or not. The last 2 years, we did a John Carpenter Showdown, where we put every movie in John Carpenter's illustrious career onto that spinny wheel, and whoever got stuck with, maybe end up with Halloween, maybe end up with The Thing, maybe end up with fucking what was that god awful one about the mental hospital? You remember that?
I don't know. I blocked it out.
It was dog shit.
I keep wanting to say they, but that's like Wes Craven's fucking last one that was a stinker.
No, I forget what it was called. I ended up with Ghosts of Mars, famously.
Yes.
It was bad. It was a bad scene. Actually, I don't dislike that movie. Anyway, we've done that the last 2 years. We've pretty much exhausted, between that and regular episodes throughout the year, we've pretty much talked about or exhausted all the worthwhile discussions around John Carpenter movies. So here's what we're going to do this year. For our guests for October, not just one guest, but 2 guests. And we are going to do a fatal 4-way match, guys. We're going to have your boy. You're going to have Steve, defending champ.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Bigfoot Ben, longtime, multi-time guest, longtime friend of the podcast. And we are bringing back... It's going to be like, hearing that glass break for the first time in years. You know what I mean? When, where all of a sudden Cactus Jack shows up out of nowhere after being gone for about 5 years, something like that. We're bringing back Meg. The Boghag herself is coming back for the fatal 4-way for October. Former full-time guest of the podcast, or host of the podcast, along with me and Steve. Meg is going to be coming back for October, along with Bigfoot Ben. We've got storylines aplenty. Boys,
you got your Boghag. What?
Yeah, you got. I mean, it's literally.
You got your horse girl. What?
She's coming fresh off of a Boghag summer. I'm sure she's going to be just ripping, roaring, ready to go, shotgun and beers. The power that she has over Ben. So, is that going to come into play? Where it's just like I said, there's a lot of storylines.
Yeah, I know. And these are storylines that you have to follow by listening regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But also, she's had a lot of power over Ben.
Yeah.
But it was also her power over Ben that led Ben to his defeat when he previously guested.
Exactly.
So this is his first time to defend himself without her control.
Is he harboring some resentment? Is he going to go at Meg's jugular? Is Meg going to be coming back? Because we've been telling everyone she's dead. Maybe she's mad about that. I don't know. So anyway,
Meg is all parts Boghag, Undertaker, Stone Cold, and Horse Girl.
Yeah, it's going to be chaos. And listen, your boy hasn't won in a second. I've been losing recently. Steve's on top. He's a big dog. He's the Rock.
Big dog.
He's been holding that belt for a long time. I got a little chip on my shoulder over here. A lot of stuff going on. That Fatal 4-Way for the October Showdown is going to be great. Like I said, we're not going to do John Carpenter, however. We're going to take on a monument, a Herculean task here. We are going to find just about every damn movie we can find that we haven't done already on the podcast that either has Halloween in the title or takes place around or during the Halloween spooky season. So there's going to be about a dang old 100 movies on this spinny ass wheel. So, of course, we're not going to do 1978 John Carpenter Halloween because we've already done that before, right?
Right.
But we might do. But on that wheel, is there going to be a little Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? Hell yeah, because we haven't talked about that movie yet.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh hell yeah! So there's going to be a lot of movies on that list. Some of them are going to be dog shit. Some of them are going to be masterpieces. Trick or Treat. We've never talked about Trick or Treat. Fan favorite. That's going to be on there. But then also, All Hallows Eve from like 2012 or whatever that is going to be on there. That's dog shit. So there's going to,
but also Trick or Treat starring Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, and also Trick or Treat. Like there's going to be a lot of dog shit on here. There's also going to be a lot of good stuff. Halloween Party. I don't know if you saw that one from a few years ago. Again, dog shit. So it's going to be a fucking minefield out there leading up to this Fatal 4-Way. So subscribe. Right? Like, follow, subscribe to the podcast, whatever you're going to do so you don't miss it. We've got tons of fun stuff in September and October for spooky season. A lot of good guests. It's going to be fucking just a back-to-back slobber knockers on top of barn burners. All right. Get ready for that. We're also going to be guesting on some other podcasts, it sounds like. So we'll keep you abreast of that as it happens. So if you want to listen to your boys out there talking shit on other podcasts, we can do that as well. Also, for those of you who are new, we got a Patreon. It's over on patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. Steve, why don't you tell the boys and ghouls about the Patreon situation we got going on over there?
Yeah, big dog. I got 2 tiers of Patreon for you guys to pay me monies into.
Yeah.
That Brian will, he'll hate, but he'll also obey the laws of the Patreon.
Again, before I'll preface this, I've been saying it, but if you're new to the podcast, what Steve is making me do, it's not worth any amount of money. You can stick your money up your ass. But I am a man of my word. So I have committed to this. So if you do give us paper monies, I will continue to do this dog shit. But just want to throw that out there. I need to stress that. I need to make it very clear. I cannot be bought and sold for paper monies, but I am a man of my word.
Yes. And he's been a man of his word. He's sat through it. But we got tier 1, which is a Scamps tier.
Scamps tier.
That's where you get a couple 2 tree bonus things. You get like that last episode we just released. It was 4.5 hours long. You know how fucking long that took me to edit? It took me forever. Mm-hmm. But if you were a scamp, guess what? You got half of that episode early. Yeah. Because I was like, hey, I can do this. I can do this for the people who are good to us. Mm-hmm. And I gave them half that episode early. So they had something, to listen to. They're also going to get bonus content from that episode. Because you say, Steve, a 4.5 hour episode, surely you didn't edit anything out. Yes, I did. It was something
tremendous amount, probably.
I took out a tremendous amount, but also I took out a good 10-minute clip of us talking wrestling because it was going to take forever to get to the movies if I didn't.
I noticed that. We were talking jobbers. We were really off on quite a tangent. You also, a lot of me coughing. I've got some horrible weeks-long plague that makes me cough a lot. We had to get that out of there.
Yeah. So that took a lot of time, but if you're a scamp, you're going to get that. You get the bonus content, you get early episodes sometimes, and then also you're going to get like reviews. I have a good sense that maybe through October, I'm not going to do one of those big full 31 for 31 review things, but I think I'm going to up the reviews for October. You're going to get a couple 2 tree reviews throughout the week of like, horror movies I watched. That's a good thing for the scamps. Yeah. So that's all good. Yeah. But then tier 2,
Rascals.
That's where it all goes down, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get the Discord.
Yeah.
You can jump online. You can watch episodes happen live.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to sit on a 5-hour podcast record, you can do that.
Which we did have a couple people drop in on. No one sat there for 5 hours, but we did have some. We did have some rascals drop in on the recording of the Showdown episode with Matt from Decaying with the Boys, which was fun. But yeah, it was a real endurance test, that episode.
Yeah. Had bathroom breaks, had water breaks.
It was a
lot
thing
going on.
Yeah, I had to go get an IV at one point.
Matt, he passed out, had to go hospital.
Ambulance had to come pick him up, take him to hospital.
Ambulance took Matt away, but then he showed back up at the end of the match.
He was driving the ambulance, and then he shot beer out of the back of the ambulance. It was incredible.
It was crazy, but you wouldn't have seen that unless you're subscribed to the Discord as a rascal.
Mm-hmm.
So all that went down. And also, Rascal Tier, the most important thing, the thing that Brian hates the most, is we're doing Family is Forever. Exclusive monthly podcast.
Guys, Steve's making me watch, and this was a joke for a while, and then it became a reality. We spoke it into reality. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy where I consistently talk about how I hate the Fast and the Furious movies. It came to light that I'd never seen any of them except for the first one. And Steve basically roped me into once a month watching one of the movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And then we do a Patreon exclusive podcast where he and I talk about it. It's a completely different format than the other shows. It's been a lot of fun. We've done 2 episodes. We did the first one, and then of course, Too Fast, Too Furious. The first one was terrible. I knew what I was getting into. The second one was I bit off more than I could chew. It was the biggest mouthful of dog shit I've ever experienced in my life. It was a chore to watch, but it was a lot of fun to talk about. And now we're getting ready to do we're getting ready to go Tokyo Drift in here in a second. And I don't know what to expect because some people are saying, oh, this is where it gets fun. I feel like I'm being gaslit, guys. Because when people say that, then Steve laughs and chuckles, and other people have seen it laugh and chuckle. And I feel like I'm being gang stalked by the FBI, and I don't like it. And I'm very perturbed, and I might lay in traffic.
I feel like it's the perfect time because I think Tokyo Drift is back in the zeitgeist. And I only know that from one anecdote I have of when I went to Trader Joe's the other day.
Yeah. Sure. People were drifting?
No, just like the people who were doing stalking at the end of the shift.
Yeah.
Like, because I left a fantasy football party. I said, I never get to go to Trader Joe's out this way. I go to Trader Joe's.
Sure.
I got a nice cheese. Walking through Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
There's some dude talking about how he specifically said Tokyo drifting. He said his friend took him Tokyo drifting in an abandoned warehouse. They were doing donuts inside the warehouse. I was like, yes,
guys,
Tokyo drifting. It's in the zeitgeist.
Donuts aren't Tokyo drifting. I grew up in a redneck ass Beaver County. So did Steve. We used to go down when it snowed. I had I think a 1999 Chevy Prism 5-speed that didn't weigh anything, and I could just spin that thing in fucking circles around the icy Giant Eagle parking lot. That's not Tokyo drifting. That's just doing donuts. That's just going down Giant Eagle doing donuts. So
that's going Giant Eagle doing donuts.
It's called doing donuts down Giant Eagle. That's all. It's not Tokyo drifting.
It was funny because this guy was probably maybe just a little bit younger than us, and he's in his mid-30s, balding, and just trying to impress his younger stock co-workers with this Tokyo drifting story. And I'm I was taking that, that extra time you take when you overhear something in the store and you're just looking at stuff on the shelves that you're not going to buy.
You're just eavesdropping.
Yeah.
You can't Tokyo drift in your mom's Hyundai Sonata.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was just he was talking about his friend took him out to this rural ass part, and then they went into an abandoned warehouse and doing donuts in the warehouse. I'm like, that's so fucking rules.
Yeah, that's a fun night. That's a fun night. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Probably had some Wild Irish Rose out there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Doing shots of Fireball, spinning the car, chirping the tires, having a good time.
Ghost riding the whip.
Saw some lightning bugs in the field.
So that's what we're getting into over there on the Patreon, guys. It's at patreon.com/Halloween's Forever. Go over there. Go over there, subscribe. If you're a fan of the podcast, help us out. $3, $5. $5 is the deal, obviously. Go out there. Support your boys and the podcast. We appreciate it. Also, follow us on the social medias. As I said, last thing, if you go on any of those old podcasts or apps, maybe it's a Spotify, it's an Apple Podcast, whatever. If you go on there, you rate us whatever the maximum amount of stars is, and then you got to write a little review. You got to say, hey, these guys, well, hey, a couple of real guys over here, gabagool, whatever. Say something dumb. Give us the 5 stars. Then shoot us a little DM over to Instagram or to Twitters and say, hey, I reviewed you guys. And I'll say, cool, man, what's your address? And I'll send you some fucking stickers for Halloween's Forever in the mail. I always include some other little cute stuff in there. I think the last bunch I sent out a bunch of them. I gave some people some little spooky stickers, or I think some people got some temporary tattoos. Maybe you get a fireball or an atomic warhead or something in there as well. But we appreciate it. We'll show you some love if you send us a review. We'll mail you some goodies in the mail, including some stickers. How about that? All right. That is all the stuff. Now we got to get into this motherfucking movie. Whoever wins, if you're new, whoever wins, to the victor go the spoils, of course. So whoever wins the showdown, the next episode, they get to pick a punishment movie to make us watch. Matt, he assured us he's not going to watch it, and he wants to have nothing to do with it. He gets to get out of it. It's like if you get in trouble at your friend's house. It's not like your friend's parents get to, punish you. You just can go home and just, wash your hands of the whole thing. And that's what he chose to do as a coward. So I
feel like I haven't said this out loud, but like, I feel like if you choose not to partake in the punishment film, it puts you farther down the rankings of getting a rematch.
That's probably true, because that's, again, it's the coward's way out. You know what I mean? You take your medicine. You got beat fair and square. You take your medicine. I think also Matt might have he was on our longest episode ever, so right. he might get a get out of jail free card on that.
Yeah, he was beaten down, broken, battered.
He really was.
Just couldn't even go again.
He was in and out of hospital. Anyway, like I said, Steve decided we got to watch Dario Argento's 2012. I don't even know what to describe this as in terms of the larger Argento sphere. The word that comes to my mind is abortion. I don't know. Called Dracula 3D. Holy shit, Steve. First of all, what made you pick this? Was there any reason besides the fact that you just won with an Argento movie?
I mean, it was nice that just everything fell into place.
Yeah.
So I stumbled. I've never seen this. I'd never seen this film before, like 2 months ago. I was just kind of flipping through movies on Amazon Prime, and this came up, and I started watching it, and I was like, "This is fucking god awful."
I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen it. I'd heard of it. I don't even think I realized it was an Argento film.
Yeah. And I just put it in my back pocket. I stopped watching it. Yeah. I was no more than 15 minutes in, and I was like, this is fucking god awful. There's no way it gets better. I'm just going to put it in my back pocket. And then, if you remember, when we were deciding movies for the showdown, I flipped a coin between angst and opera.
Yeah.
And I just happened to come up opera. I actually think I would have lost with angst. So I
think you would have too. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't know Matt as well as you do, but I don't feel like he would have dug it.
Yeah, it's not like it's everything that it's everything you've chided me for opera being, of like being arty and everything like that. But also it is even less fun than opera. So
it's West German. I mean, there's nothing less fun than West Germany.
Yeah. So Yeah, I don't think I would have won with that one. So, but yeah, I won with opera, and I said, well, of course, if I win with the best Argento film, then let's give him the worst.
Yeah, it makes sense thematically speaking. This is the problem with this movie too, or one of the many problems with it, is it lures you into a little bit of a false sense of security where you think like, oh, this might be a little bit okay. I posted something today because I just watched this today, and I posted. First of all, it's got some cool posters out there.
Yes.
There's this poster that's got a cool picture of Rutger Hauer. You know how we both are fans of Rutger Hauer.
Absolutely.
So thought this was going to be cool. It had him on there. He was looking cool. Van Helsing, one of my all-time favorite characters in horror. So I'm like, God damn, a great actor playing one of my all-time favorite characters. This is going to be fucking great. No, dog shit. He's barely in it. And he is just phoning it the fuck in. Even him phoning it in is better than almost everybody else in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing is like he's phoning it in, but still is better than everyone.
Yeah, his minimum effort is 50 times better than max effort from Dario Argento. She is dog shit in this movie.
I need to tell the audience now.
Okay.
Like, even if you don't want to watch the film, like you have to fast forward to an hour and 15 minutes in this film.
Hour and 16 on my. I knew what you were going to say, and I already marked it myself. It's an hour and 16 on Tubi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Van Helsing kills, like it's just the beginning of this. When Van Helsing kills Dario Argento's character,
she plays Lucy. You know, this is like Lucy loosely based on, obviously on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Not loosely. It is an interpretation, as all Dracula films are really, of course, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So Lucy, that character, that's who she plays.
Right. Yeah. So she plays Lucy. She gets turned into a dang old vampire.
She gets vamped up. Yep.
Van Helsing ain't having none of that shit. He's killing all the vampires, and he kills her, and it is the funniest fucking face.
I watched it 4 or 5 times. I don't know. How do you leave that in there? Was that really the best take? Like,
it has to be.
It seems like it really seems like a big old goof 'em up.
Yeah.
It's flabbergasting. Like that they put this in the movie. She's got fake vampire teeth in. She does this silly mush mouth face, and she's just like, rah, rah, rah. Like it's just mind blowing that this ended up in the movie.
It rules so hard. So I need you as an audience member to just go watch that. You don't have to watch the whole film. You can just listen to us talk about it if you want, but you have to see the face she makes when she gets killed.
It's free on Tubi. Just go to like Steve said, go to hour 14 and watch the couple minutes leading up to it. You'll get the gist of how bad this movie sucks and how bad it looks and all that stuff. And then you'll get this wild death scene. There's like, I would say 1 or 2 other scenes in this movie that are worth watching. But if you go on YouTube and just put like Dracula 3, which there's not much about it, to be honest with you, which is weird. They'll probably talk about 2 things. Actually, I didn't see much about that. So that took me with quite a surprise, and I was like laughing and then bewildered, then laughing again. It was a roller coaster. And then there's another scene, which we'll talk about, that involves a giant praying mantis, which is, again, so bonkers. And that one is the one that gets a lot of attention. If you put in Dracula 3D, you'll get a lot. I think I saw a headline that was like, not even a giant praying mantis can save this piece of shit, that type of stuff.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's baffling. There's a lot of weird choices. And like you said, it's an interpretation, but it like, how do you, I don't know. I just don't know. Wild
decisions were made. I do like that this one starts out and, like I said, you get some like I said, there's cool people in it. Well, Rutger Hauer. And then it starts and they start talking about Walpurgis night, which is like the night where witches do witch shit, basically. And then like even the first couple scenes You get, like I said, some really quality big old boobies. Not to be crass, but they are tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, you wind up focusing on it. And you can't help it.
You can't help it. You get a good old, roll in the hay scene. And you get the other thing that got me all bricked up early was there's so many theremin. There's so much theremin in this soundtrack.
There's so much ooh.
And I love a theremin. I'm a big theremin. I'm pro theremin from way back. And there's a bunch of theremin jams. Like, he hired a theremin guy. That's how much theremin is in this movie. So I was like, hell yeah. A thereminist, maybe? I don't know. But I was
Thereminner.
I was psyched up for this right off the bat. But again, it lets you down big time. So
yeah, I for me, the very first red flag is the CGI opening of the CGI village. It is so terrible.
There was a lot of movies in this time and in the decade even before this where people were so boned up about CGI, where you would get an intro scene or you would get a credit scene where it was just like, let's throw a little CGI in there because we got a CGI guy on the staff and we just kind of want to show him that we can do this shit, right? So I was hoping that was what was going to happen, but no, you quickly realize there's going to be a lot of it in this thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of CGI and it is all terrible, and it's terrible to the point of not just being a detriment to what's actually CGI, but it's also a detriment to like other things that I wasn't sure if they were CGI or not, because if it's not CGI, it's a fucking high school play set.
It is. So
that they're on.
This is so strange because the first scene, like I said, where you get the big old boobies we were talking about, it is a spooky, like salacious barn bang on a fucking dark and stormy Walpurgis knock. Like I said, with some big boobs. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I'm super on board. And then you never get anything cool ever again. You get a couple of like, okay, fun kills and that they're stupid, but you never get anything atmospheric like that ever again. It feels like, I mean, I feel like I've seen Hallmark Christmas movies that have more atmosphere than this. Like, which is so strange. And like, here was my thought. I'll throw this out there because I want to keep it in mind throughout. Maybe you're probably more knowledgeable about like what might, suggest this or what might, where this might come from. Argento's trademark aesthetic. Like, Argento is one of those filmmakers where it's like you turn a movie on, you start watching it, you're like, this looks like an Argento flick, right?
Right.
70s, 80s Argento, like that's where you're really seeing this. This doesn't feel even remotely like any other Argento film I've seen. And it looks everything is very bright. It feels like it's 3 p.m. in every scene. Yeah. Does that have something to do with the camera they used to make it 3D? Like, I don't know what 3D elements were there because I didn't watch, I assume there was a few of them with CGI, the fucking owl and that sort of stuff. You're like, obviously that was CG, or I'm sorry, that was 3D.
Right. Yeah.
But like, is that why everything didn't look even remotely Argento-ish? I mean, I know this is a newer movie, but why did everything look so bright and just like it was shot in a public park in 3 p.m.?
I don't know. And this is like this is a more baffling thing to me as well, because I've seen more Argento films, and so previous to this film, he had Mother of Tears come out in 2007. Okay. And Mother of Tears was meant to be like the completion to that kind of the witch trilogy of Suspiria, Inferno, and then Mother of Tears.
I've never seen Mother of Tears. I've seen the first two.
It's not great. Yeah. It suffers from a lot of the same problems. Just something about the look. Something about the look of like filming Italian, whatever they're doing with cameras at that time. They don't look great. And even the whole thing looks really low budget.
And like there's a decent, especially early on, there's a few decent, kind of camera movements and stuff that are kind of cool. Like basically leading up to when the CGI owl vampire jumps out and attacks that woman. You're like, oh, there's a couple of cool little things going on, a couple of like shots from a distance, but like the costumes even. There's no care taken in this movie. Like this is, right now I'm watching, I often have a movie on in the background here. So I'm watching Evil Dead 2, right? In the background right now. This is the scene where she drives up and there's the redneck there in his truck or whatever. Everything looks lived in. The redneck guy, he's got oil all over his clothes. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow, his truck's beat up. It looks lived in. Right. Nothing in this movie looks lived in.
Not at all.
Everything looks like a stage play. Like,
yeah, it looks like a pristine stage play. And this is the other thing that like here. So the mystery gets deeper. The cinematographer on this film is Luciano Tovoli, and Tovoli was one of Argento's original cinematographers on Suspiria and Tenebrae.
Yeah.
So like this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows everything that they're filming looks flat or looks blown out or looks like, so I don't understand how so many, second year filmmaker mistakes get by in this film.
You wonder if Argento just like slapped his name on it and almost like, there was some ghost directing happening. So I don't know, but just the production value is so weak. There is a scene, which I'm sure you noticed too, where they're supposedly at a train station and
oh God,
there is a train in the background. And you can hardly recognize it as a train station because it just looks like they are at a train museum where you're just like at a park and then there's a stationary like 1 or 2 train cars, not even necessarily on a track, just sitting there. Nothing about it seems like a train station. There's no, like I said, there's no texture. There's no lived in, there's no activity happening. There's like 3 people milling around a very obviously stationary train.
I don't even think the train's real.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't look at all like a train. I mean, it doesn't look like it's moving. It just looks like a really shitty built set. It looks like a train you would build on a stage play. I guess I'm sound like a broken record, but it's really that bad. And so much so that I think even they have like some steam or smoke happening and it's like CGI steam and smoke.
So I think what's real, it's hard to pinpoint, but I think what's real in this scene, because the CGI is so bad and like it sticks out, but also everything like you're saying is like it's filmed bad. So it's hard to tell what's real and not. So, but what I think is real is they have the stairs that go up to the train, and then they have that weird door, which is like a door that also leads to a pub.
Yeah.
And that's real. The train itself actually doesn't exist.
Oh,
the
really?
Train, yeah, I'm pretty sure the train in the background are both like on the same layer of like being just painted in, and then everything else is like soft masked out around it. And then you have the CGI steam as well. I think that little awning that Jonathan has the interaction with the train guy is real.
Yeah.
And so that's what's real. It's just like, it's fucking baffling.
Like, why CGI smoke? Like, I know this motherfucker has some fog machines. We know he's got some fog machines. Like, Dario Argento has a whole garage of fog machines. What makes, like, was this a super rushed production? It's almost like they got themselves into a situation that, 2012 and they had some production company or whatever working on that. They're just like, we're going to put a lot of this stuff in CGI. So this is going to make for a really quick and dirty shoot. Don't worry about making it look too good. We've got a CGI guy that's just going to blow your tits off, and he's going to fix everything with all his cool computer tricks. And Dario Argento went, okie dokie. And then they put it, and then this is what happened. And it's like, what are you going to go back, reshoot stuff? Like, this is the best that they could do after, they just put, this is all speculation, but it just feels like they put too much faith in the CGI, and then it really came back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah. And I mean, again, back to his previous film, A Mother of Tears, it's also full of just like dog shit CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I don't know if maybe like Argento was like sold a bill of goods, maybe.
That's what I'm imagining. Yeah, this is all speculation, but
yeah, and like he was only able to like secure so apparently the budget is like 5.5 million euros, so comparable to a sub $10 million film, I would guess.
Yeah.
You don't really recognize anybody in the film except for Asia and Rutger Hauer.
Mm-hmm.
This other guy, Thomas Kretschmann, who plays Dracula, is a constant, like, just kind of not extra, but like just
supporting guy.
Yeah, supporting. Like not even a second build guy.
No, I recognize his face, but had no idea what his name was.
Yeah, he plays like random soldiers and bad guys in like Marvel villain shit. Like
he was in one of the Resident Evil movies. Yeah, he was in the freaking. He always plays Captain this, Major that. Like, just
he's a hench. He's a hench, is what he is.
He's in the new Gran Turismo movie, which I have not seen. I have no intention of seeing, but it looks so unbelievably dog shit. I don't know. This is complete aside, but I've seen a couple of the taglines and commercials for this movie and trailers, like, and Kate and I have been together, and we both busted out laughing at how stupid it looks.
David Harbour needs to really like get a better agent or something. Nobody's checking his projects. He's just taking whatever.
Yeah, someone needs to check in on your boy. I grew up with the Gran Turismo series, and I'm a huge fan of the Gran Turismo series, and I have literally not for 1 second even considered watching this movie.
Same.
So that's an aside, but yeah, not a lot of big name people, fairly low budget. I get all that, but it's just like, you've got Argento, who's got so much atmosphere. Like when I think about Dario Argento movies, I think of really fantastic visuals, really fantastic atmospheric things with the score and the way it's shot and the production and all that. This lacks all of those things. There is this graveyard scene, which a Dracula movie in a graveyard, you know what to do. Everyone understands the assignment there, right? Nope. It looks like trash. It looks like it looks like when I used to work at like a haunted houses at like Cedar Point. Like that's what it looks like they were at. And there's even some pretty cool practical effects in that scene too.
It looks like somebody's Halloween yard is what it is, because they have like a big giant singular light that's like lighting the entire thing. So like everything on that light is blown the fuck out, but then it kind of does dissipate across. But yeah, it looks like somebody's Halloween graveyard scene in their yard.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, there's a cool ear bite. There's like a head chop. Somebody gets their head chopped in half with an axe. You get the trademark, bright red.
It's a shovel. It's a shovel that splits a head. So like, So like everything like that is good. So whoever Dario knew from that, who did the practical special effects, that's all good. Everything that's CGI is abysmal.
Yeah. They do the scene right after that where they meet Dracula for the first time, and it is so poorly lit, and it just has no atmosphere at all. They might as well be walking into Courtyard by Marriott to do a job interview. It's just no atmosphere at all.
Yeah.
For a movie about vampires, it feels more like a Hallmark romance than it does a fucking vampire movie.
Yeah. So the guy who plays Dracula, Thomas Kretschmann, he was in the Stendhal syndrome as well. So I guess Dario thought it was a good idea to cast somebody who looks like any Republican.
Well,
but like,
yeah, he looks like a nameless. I just watched a couple of the Purge movies in the last couple of days. A couple of the Purge sequels I've been watching through that franchise because I've only ever saw the first one, and he looks like one of the nameless rich people bad guys in one of the Purge movies that are like paying to kill people. That's what he looks like. And it's not even any fault of his own. It's not like he's that bad. He just was horribly miscast.
Yeah, he's horribly miscast. Like, the one thing is, when you make a Dracula movie, Dracula is your main guy.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to cast for Dracula. Like, even Renfield is a movie about Renfield and Nicholas Hoult, but they cast a Dracula, which is fucking Nick Cage. Nick Cage is a perfect Dracula.
You have to have someone who commands the eye. Nicolas Cage is a great example. Nicolas Cage will read the phone book and you're going to be fucking riveted.
Yeah.
Even like Bela Lugosi, which, maybe some people call sacrilege, but like, he's not the greatest actor in the world. Like, Bela Lugosi is not Boris Karloff. Bela Lugosi is not Lon Chaney, certainly. He's not even Lon Chaney Jr. Like, I love Bela Lugosi. He's not a great actor, but he's got
not
that.
Lon Chaney, but he got it. He has it.
He got
has
the
what you need.
fucking look. He's got the X factor. When he's making that face, all eyes are on him. Right? He has gravitas in his performance. This guy just doesn't. He's major corporal, fucking private, whatever. That's his shtick. That's his bag.
Yeah, he's a Gulf War veteran who became a hedge fund manager. Like, that's
what he would play pretty well though is like if they did a remake of like what the fuck was that golf movie with where Will Smith is the magical black guy.
Bagger Vance.
Yeah, The Legend of Bagger Vance. I can imagine him being like the dad of the main character in The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Sure. He could also
play
like
whenever white people are, just have him in there. He's gonna fit perfect. He's gonna be well cast in something like that.
Yeah, he could maybe do like Shooter McGavin in a Happy Gilmore remake.
No, he's not funny enough. Nope. See, you already fucked up. Give him a smaller role. Make him Happy Gilmore's golf coach that has 2 lines before he meets Chubbs,
Oh, okay.
Something like that. And anyway, so
maybe one of the suits in the PGA tour, like the guy who runs the PGA, and he's like, well, we Happy is bringing in money for us, so we're going to let him golf.
He plays that guy in the remake of Happy Gilmore, the guy that's like tells Shooter McGavin, well, we got a whole new demographic coming in here, so I'm a businessman. He's the guy who Don Draper is pitching something to.
Yeah.
But in any case, we've already spent too much time on this fucking guy.
He's not Dracula.
He's not. Here's what he ain't. Dracula.
Ain't no damn Dracula I ever seen.
He ain't no Dracula. He ain't my Dracula.
Let's go, Bella.
We're just getting a whole this is just a whole now pitch for a movie where we've got like MAGA horror fans that are like really this ain't my Dracula.
Not my Dracula.
That's a shirt, by the way. This ain't my that ain't my Dracula. Anyway, you get Jonathan, who's like the kind of foppish kind of pseudo protagonist, but then not really. That's the other thing that's weird about this. It really jumps around to like, who are you supposed to care about and follow and be the, kind of eyes and ears of the audience. You don't really have you have a couple of different protagonists that kind of bebop around different storylines.
Yeah. I mean, you never get to cement to one. And it is weird. Like, this almost feels like, I don't know. Do you remember the Marvel comic series What If?
No.
Okay, so like Marvel has What If and DC has Elseworlds, and it's basically where they'll take an origin story or like, just another, pivotal moment, and they'll retell that story in a what if it happened this way.
Oh, okay. It's kind of fun.
And that's what this movie feels like. It feels like, what if it happened this way, that Jonathan Harker goes to a village that Lucy already lives in, and it's plagued by Dracula, and then they all get turned to vampires, and Mina Harker shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, yeah, it just feels like this, it's familiar, but like also everything's told a little bit differently.
Yeah, all the dynamics between all the characters are quite different than any other interpretation that I've seen. And then you have like Tanya, who like, and it's been a while since I read the novel, but you know, there is definitely more in the novel about like Dracula's brides and stuff. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the, you know, what is it, 31 Dracula, with Bela Lugosi, there is, you know, they're
you get like 2 scenes, maybe.
You see a couple of them and he's like, be gone, you know, kind of thing. He's mine.
Get scat.
Yeah. And they're like, you know, and then that's like it. That's pretty much, you just know that they're there and they're a threat, but they're very much his underlings. In this one, Tanya, who is, you know, the 2 of the D's in Dracula 3D, she she's actually not that bad. She does a better job than most in terms of her performance. And she does like,
also make a funny face when she dies, though.
She does, but it just is buried compared to Asia Argento's. But she gets stabbed. Again, she's topless. Like the whole movie, like she actually is one of the better performers in this, and pretty much they just have her there to show her boobs most of the time. But she does have a cool death where she gets stabbed in the chest, you know, with her boobs out, by a giant fucking cross, which was kind of cool. But so when Tanya starts in on the guy who plays Jonathan, the foppish guy, for the second time, like Dracula rolls in and he's like super emo about the whole thing. And it just feels like this weird, like Jerry Springer-ish thing. Like, that ain't my baby. Like, it's not even, it's like, it's not, he's not intimidating, and it doesn't ever feel like he's really in charge. Like in all Dracula movies, like Dracula runs the fucking show. He's been around, you know what I mean? Like he comes in and everyone bends to his whim. It doesn't feel like that until later when he starts going John Wick on people. You don't really ever feel like he's that huge of a threat, which I understand that like in the first movie, it's like, or I mean, even in the dramatization, he's more like a, it's slightly Nosferatu-y, not in the look and stuff, but it's more like, oh, he's like this creature of the night that's like slinking around in the darkness and doing sneaky shit. Mm-hmm. Whereas in some of the, film adaptations, it's more like he's this handsome fucking, all this stuff. So I get it. Maybe they thought that they were going more towards that, but it just feels like it doesn't do either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because the actor is handsome. Like,
he's a very good looking guy. He's blandly handsome, but he's a good looking guy.
But that's the thing. They don't ugly him up. So like what you're talking about is like Nosferatu and even Klaus Kinski's performance in Herzog's Dracula.
Oh, that's great.
Like,
yeah.
Kinski's performance is that weird creeper.
He's like a fucking half rat, half bat, half, man. That's 3 halves, by the way, if you guys are following along at home.
But like, he's always like, curled up and like, wandering around, and like he still feels more in charge. Mm-hmm. But like this one, it feels like just he's a real beta Dracula.
He's Hallmark Dracula.
Yeah, because he gets upset at Tanya, and then like his other big thing is he's Cuckula. Yeah, Cuckula.
Sorry. That was not worth interrupting.
His other big thing is like just transforming into animals and following people.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not, like he spends times as bugs and rats just spying on people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm finding out all the dirt on you.
Yeah.
I hear you talking shit on me. Fuck you, bitch.
Well, then he's like an owl. Of course, the owl, which the owl has some like mystical, certainly a lot of mystical ties. And, definitely wolf. That's a very common one you see. The bat. Does he turn into a bat in this one? I think
a bat's the one thing he doesn't turn into.
I was going to say, I don't think he's a bat in this one. That one is obviously very traditional. But in this one, he turns into not a regular praying mantis, a fucking giant Duke Nukem fucking praying mantis.
That's the craziest thing because even before then, all the other animals were like of the animal size.
Yeah.
Like he's a rat that's a normal rat size. He's like 3 cockroaches that are all cockroach size.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, he decides, I'm going to be, hey, everybody, I've been playing Fallout 3. Check this out.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it just reminds me, it's like all of a sudden you're in Unreal Tournament or something. Like he just comes, you're in Time Killers or whatever that fucking arcade game is.
There was a giant mantis in Time Killers.
Yeah. He just pops up and he is a giant CGI mantis that just sticks his fucking mantis claw through someone's chest. And then I thought he was eating his head off, which would have been cool. But then they cut to the victim, who is the one, dad or whatever. And then his head's there. So I was like, wait, did I miss that? But it doesn't make any difference. It could have happened or not happened. It's asinine. But it just adds to the weirdness and not intriguing weirdness, just like fractured stupidity of this interpretation of Dracula.
Yeah. It's like, why did you think that was a good idea?
Yeah. Can we talk real quick about how Dario Argento stinks on ice? She's so bad at acting. I
need to ask something very specific. And it starts with like the first scene we're introduced to her character. Mm-hmm. She's giving a piano lesson to a local village girl.
Yeah.
And in this scene, it sounds like she's dubbed. And it sounds like the person who's doing her dub is a guy doing a lady voice.
Oh, I did not notice this. Every time she was on screen, I checked out.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of her scenes is like her natural voice.
Yeah.
But there's a couple scenes where she gets dubbed over, and I swear to God, it's a guy doing a lady voice.
Oh, I need to go back and watch it then.
It makes me laugh.
That would be hilarious. And I completely missed it. She has a deeper voice.
Right.
And she obviously has the accent, but like I don't know if it's an acting choice, if it's just her. I haven't seen her act. I haven't seen her in enough things to ever to know this, but she feels like she's playing everything like almost in this, like, I don't know if this is a directorial thing, but it feels like she's just doing this like soap opera melodrama way of acting where she's like, again, just putting like melodramatic inflections on everything. Not like the aunt at the beginning of Sleepaway Camp, not like that, but just like, it's not like stage performance-y. It's just like, I don't know. This is going to be so specific and stupid, but for some reason, the combination of the lighting, the weird production, and the weird delivery of the performers. Do you remember the show on MTV called Undressed? Remember the MTV Undressed? It was just like basically like super soft core porn that happened that they just put on at like midnight on MTV for you just to like teenagers to crank to before the internet. Mm-hmm. It just reminded me when she was talking of an episode of Undressed. There was so much like gratuitous. Listen, she's an attractive woman. Do what you want, but like she is, or if you don't have to be attractive to take your clothes off the movie. That's not what I mean. But like she is, her nudity seems displaced and just gratuitous. And listen, this is from a person who, I love nudity, but I think it's, when I'm going to a slasher movie or something like that, yeah, let's have some freaking boobies. I don't give a shit. That's great. But she is just like, it's that whole bathing scene.
It's pointless.
There's no reason for her to be naked. There's no, the part of the reason why there's like nudity in slasher movies and stuff like that is because there's that inherent vulnerability that happens when you have no clothes on.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you're like, fuck, now wait, I'm even less likely to run away because I don't know if it's a real threat or if it's just someone. And if it's just someone, I don't want to be caught with my clothes off kind of thing. So there's
I want nobody to see my beef.
Yeah. So this is a totally like inherent, like there's an inherent vulnerability to being naked. This is not that. This is just her and her like, I don't know. Is it her servant or whatever? I forget.
I thought it was Mina.
Oh, it's her sister. Yeah. It's her sister.
Yeah.
And they're in there and she's like bathing her for some reason in like a big, old timey bathtub. It's just a big old pot of butt water. And she's in there and she's just like, there's no reason for her to be naked. No. And she's obviously, I don't want this to sound the wrong way because I don't mean it like this, but it's just this weird juxtaposition where during certain parts of the scene, she's feeling herself. You could tell she's just like, look at my sick bod, look at my big boobies. And then the next scene, and she's really like strutting it. And then the next scene, there's like this faux modesty where she's like covering herself up and looking vulnerable, all within the same scene. And it's just like, it's just all over the place.
Yeah. And the scene only serves one purpose, to reveal to Mina that she had been bitten.
Yes. But at the back of the leg, which you don't have to be naked to see that.
And also, I believe she's already been bitten on the neck before that. So like you don't need that.
Oh, like was she bitten on the neck at that point?
I'm pretty sure. I thought she had been already bitten on the neck, and her father had already discovered.
No, because there was that scene where the father's like, let me see, and she's like, I gotta see, and he pulls weight, and there's nothing there, and then she's like, what are you looking for? Kind of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
And then the whole idea is he didn't see it. And then this is the scene to show that she actually had been bitten, but it was because it was on the back of the leg. And she tells her sister it's insect bites. And her sister's like, oh, I'm a dumb idiot. So yeah, I'll believe that.
Yeah. That's the only thing it serves is to reveal that. But like, yeah, you don't have to be standing up naked in a bathtub to reveal that.
No,
you don't have to film her naked to do that. It just, it feels cheap, but also like, she just does cheap nudity a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's again, I don't even mind that. It's just, this movie isn't trying to be that. I just, the tone of this movie is just all over the fucking place. And, above all else, it commits the most fucking egregious of sins is that it's fucking boring. Like huge stretches of it are so boring. Like at one point I was like, how the fuck is there like 48 minutes left in this movie? And then I was like, how the fuck is there 30 minutes left in this movie? How the fuck is there 20 minutes left in this movie? It just dragged on and on. There is really, honestly, probably an hour max of really content that needs to be there. And then everything else just padded out.
Yeah, everything is just padded out. And it like, compare to Dracula 31, everybody is already kind of in place and interacting. So like Van Helsing, Lucy, Mina, Jonathan, and Lucy's father are all like kind of in the same place at the same time. They're all interacting with each other. So a lot of the things that don't get cleared up in this film right away get cleared up in that film because like everybody's talking and around each other. This takes all of those interactions and breaks them down into scenes between 1 and 2 characters.
Yeah.
And just drags everything out.
So much fucking dialogue. And if the interaction that Dracula has with people just it doesn't move the story along enough where like all the exposition just drags it down so much. And then when Dracula's on screen, you don't fucking even care, you know, because you got the fucking lesser known teacher from Hogwarts playing fucking Dracula. Yeah, it's just there's so much so much dialogue that just doesn't need to be there, and it's like trying to be dramatic. It's not. Nobody cares. It doesn't pull the story. It doesn't carry the story at all.
Yeah, and then they introduce like this whole other subplot of like Dracula has like this cadre of villains underneath him of Renfield and this other guy Zorin.
Yeah, Renfield is actually one of the. Actually, these two characters are like two of the more entertaining ones in the movie. The
Renfield, the way he delivers lines is fucking nuts.
It's like bonkers, but like it's Renfield. You're supposed to be wacky poo brain, but yeah.
I don't think I like it, but also at the same time, like just the way because it sounds like he's slurring sort of, and like he feels half drunk a lot of the time, and he just bursts into scenes and then just like spews his lines.
He does. He's always like half screaming.
Yeah.
And so stumbling about. He's just like chaotic. Chaotic Renfield.
He feels less mentally ill and broken and more just like the yelling town drunk.
Like, physically sick with alcoholism.
Yeah. So, and then Zorin, he's all right. Like he's just a hench guy. He's fine.
Yeah. And then you've got the fucking, who's the military guy? Is that who? The guy with the fucking fancy mustache.
I don't know.
He's kind of like the underling that's kind of that's kind of the other assorted unsavory people in town are kind of under him almost, but he gets the Dario Argento trying to indulge his things happening inside the mouth when you're dying thing, where he gets this like Dracula telepathically makes him shoot himself, and he does it's like in slow motion, and you get the like bullet going through the his
jaw.
It makes him like open his mouth so you can see it, and it's just like I don't know. I just kept in my notes I called him Sergeant Luigi Mario.
Yeah,
but I don't remember
what
his
name mustache is. I can't remember his name either.
Yeah,
but yeah, I have because this scene we're talking about in which he does this is like a meeting of the minds of like all the town. I don't know, I guess town leaders, but like this guy is kind of he's the police force, and then Zorin is just like a big guy around town, and then you have like an innkeeper, just like, basically the business owners, and they're all like, we got to do something about Dracula. And then like, we don't know if we can do something about Dracula. We have a thing with Dracula. And then Dracula
they have like
shows
an agreement kind of thing.
Yeah. And then Dracula shows up as a bunch of flies.
Yeah. CGI flies. And I was like, so I get it. You got to make it CGI when all the flies come together and turn into a body. Like you can't do that practically. I understand. Right. But like, even when there's just like flies on the window, like 10 years ago, or no, gosh, it was maybe more than 10 years ago. It was 87. So it was, 20 some years ago, like you had 9,000 crows on set, but you couldn't get a fly guy to like put some flies on the window. You had to do CGI flies.
Well, even at the end of Opera, he had a fly on a leash.
Yeah,
that he was filming.
No, so, just like, can't just get flies. Like, what's cheaper than flies? But no flies.
How do they get real wolves? Because there's a bunch of real dogs running around all over this set.
There is, but then some of them are CGI. Actually, one of them more not impressive at all, but a couple of the like reasonably convincing CGI models in this movie were when they had the CGI wolves. But then there are some real wolves too. But
yeah, and then there's also the model where it goes, the wolf attacks Parker, and then it turns into Dracula. And I was like, oh, that turned into a Castlevania cutscene real quick.
Yeah. Oh boy, and it was fucking bad. It was fucking bad.
But yeah, so Dracula shows up during this meeting, and then like he's just like are you with me or are you against me? And then, he decides to kill everybody because Zoran's been tipping him off, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And, he kills everybody. And, like, this is, like, the one good scene because aside from the flies, everything else is pretty much practical.
Swats a guy's head off, like,
which is hilarious. Like, just the edit on it is hilarious because it's a hard cut.
Yeah. Thwap. He just, it might as well have, like, had a little Batman bubble come up and said thwap or boink or, something.
And then the way the guy screams right beforehand, it's like I was surprised it wasn't a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
Head comes off.
Thwap, knocks his head off. Doesn't cut it off. He does slice a guy's, jugular with his vampy claws. But he turns into John Wick for a second. John Wick meets Darth Vader because then he makes Sergeant Luigi Mario shoot himself. It's not what he's been up to this point. He's been like sneaky Dracula. Now he's John Wick Dracula all of a sudden.
Yeah, now he's super violent. Everybody's made me so mad. Although it's not the first time he displayed his Jedi powers.
Yeah.
Because he did do that earlier when Tanya was trying to drink Jonathan Harker and he threw her naked ass across a room.
Yeah, he did. He launched her. He used straight up force powers on her.
Yeah. He's like, be gone. Yeah. Don't touch this.
Now I wrote at this point, 1 hour and 12 minutes in, Rutger Hauer finally shows up. Fuck off. That was my note.
He shows up after, like, the guy who plays the priest is also terrible.
Okay, that just had to be somebody's buddy, right?
He
didn't even feel like an actor.
No.
He was, when he delivered the one line, I didn't write it down. I'm trying to remember it. It was something like, get out of here. I don't want to have anything to do with all this Dracula talk. And Rutger Hauer's like, sorry for interrupting you or whatever. And he goes to walk away. And he's like, you don't know what it's like. It's Dracula. He's the worst. Like, he just like, he's so, the one thing he does well is sweat. He's so sweaty.
He's so sweaty.
Yeah.
It was, I think it's maybe his first appearance when Mina is like coming back from the woods or whatever. And Lucy's died. And like everybody's gathered outside of the
like mourning kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's outside mourning, and Mina comes up and she's like, what's happening? And he goes, it's just the way he delivers it is just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's Lucy.
Yeah. Dun,
it's
dun,
like,
dun.
just the way he says it, it doesn't make sense as a sentence because all the intonations are up and down. And it's like, what's Lucy? What? It's what?
He has never been on camera.
Lucy? Yeah.
He's never been on camera. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's like, it's Lucy. It's like, wait, are you talking to somebody who's behind me? Or are you saying Lucy has died? Like, it's unclear in the way you've delivered it. But
it feels like almost like he's announcing Mina as Lucy. Like she comes up and he goes, it's Lucy. Like, it's like, here she is. It's like, no, that Lucy's inside. You got to tell her, I'm sorry about Lucy.
He's never been on camera. He's only ever acted on stage. Like, it just feels like such a favor that he was given this role.
He's like maybe like just kind of like a goofy comedian that's always like falling on his ass in Italian TV shows. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, it'd be funny to have him in.
He'll be kind of recognizable. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the equivalent of like I'm trying to think of some mid-level. I was going to say a David Hasselhoff, but that would be way too big in the US. But yeah, he's kind of like it's like if you plugged, Drew Carey into a fucking movie. Like, oh, okay. He's not really an actor. He's more of a comedian. Okay. Yeah. We finally get, Rutger Hauer at this point. And then I start paying a little bit more attention for a little while. But shortly thereafter, we get the scene that we mentioned, with Lucy dying, and so first of all, her sister comes in and like Lucy's alive again. And then Van Helsing comes in at this point, you're Van Helsing, but you only have 2 sticks to make a cross out of. Like, you got to have something else. You're a goddamn vampire hunter. Like, that's the one thing you got to have.
It's your deal.
Yeah. And then Asia Argento, even before the unbelievably stupid face that she makes, she does this growl that is, it's just like, it reminds me of like something I would do when I'm like playing with my kids. You know what I mean? Not like,
Right.
It's just so strange that they kept it in there. And then we didn't mention right after that, she gets she gets shot. Van Helsing shoots her. She bursts into flames, and it's like really bad. Like it's like Sci-Fi Channel original level fire CGI, and she burns into a little fucking pile of embers. But before she does the growl, she does the dumb face, and then she runs at him like Napoleon Dynamite runs off the stage after he does his dance number. It's just such a combination of strange movements where you're just like, oh, she has never acted in any physical way before. Right. So she doesn't know how to act. She doesn't know how to use her body for acting.
Except for she totally has. It's the most baffling thing that she, for all the movies she gets to do, she never figures out how to do movies. Like she doesn't get better at acting. She's just terrible. Yeah. She's in 2002's Triple X with Vin Diesel, and that was the first time American audiences, I think, really had to suffer through like what she gets up to as far as like dog doo-doo acting. That was the first time, and that was pretty much the last time American audiences. She got a role in Land of the Dead. Yeah. But that's just because Romero and Dario are so close. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think American audiences had to put up with her.
I think the only people, like when you Google her now, the only thing comes up is she was married to Anthony Bourdain. Like that's pretty much the only reason I think anybody knows who she is at this point. But boy, she's bad. She's a bad performer. And at this point, there's fucking 30 minutes left. And I'm just like, how is this? Like Lucy's dead. Fucking Van Helsing show up. I know we still have to kill Dracula. I get it. But wait, I'm getting two things mixed up. How did he kill Lucy? Did he just stab her with a fucking...
No, he set her on fire.
He just set her on fire. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because later, when he kills Dracula, and there's no spoiler to be had, he obviously kills Dracula. He kills him with what he describes as a garlic bullet.
Yeah, and it's actually Mina who pulls the trigger.
Yeah, that's true. But he gets they shoot him with a garlic bullet, which I didn't know was a thing. You know, a silver bullet for werewolves, and sometimes you'll see silver bullets make their way into the vampire lore, but a garlic bullet.
Yeah.
Do you think that they like cooked it with garlic, or did they fill it with garlic? Is it a confit situation? How do you achieve a garlic bullet?
I mean, I would probably go with a confit situation, and then like also when you clean your gun, you oil it, right? So like there's a lot of garlic oil in there. Mm-hmm. This is the most Italian way to kill something.
Yeah, exactly. With a garlic bullet. I would imagine probably most crimes in Italy are done with garlic bullets.
Yeah. Just can't help it.
Yeah, just all bullets are garlic bullets in Italy. Yeah, I mean, we've talked enough about the dialogue just being trash, but like this is the point where I'm just like, I just wrote, okay.
Okay, I get it already.
Praying mantis comes up the stairs and kills the dad. Dracula can do that ? Because it's like an 8-foot tall praying mantis.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, everything else he's been so far is of the normal size. Mm-hmm. If he's a cloud of flies, all the flies are the fly size.
Yeah. He's not a giant fly. He's not Brundlefly. He's just a fucking regular bunch of flies. He's an 8-foot tall, bright green, fast moving giant. And the way they shoot the scene, you almost have to see it to believe it. Not that it's impressive. It's just that why have they done it? Why have you done? I thought of that meme where he's like, where the like British kid is like talking, and then all of a sudden a fist just comes in and just punches him in the face. He's like, I can't believe you've done this. I just, that's what I thought of. I felt like I was punched in the face, and I just was like, I can't believe you've done this. It's
which is the same thing for Lucy's father. Just getting stabbed through the guts. I can't believe you've done this to me.
I can't believe you've done this. Because it's shot from so Lucy's father is sitting guard, if you will, like at the end of the hallway on a chair. And at the opposite end of the hallway, there's a staircase that's ascending up from downstairs. And all of a sudden, you just are seeing the staircase, and you hear something coming up the staircase, and you quickly see that it's a 8-foot tall, bright green CGI praying mantis. It scuttles over, sticks its claw through his chest, which I didn't rewind this part, but was the praying mantis arm stabbed through the chest practical? Like when they cut to the stab.
Yeah. So there's 2 practical praying mantis arms. Because one arm goes around the back of the father's neck and holds him. And then there is the one that goes through his chest is practical as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like the praying mantis was like, my name is Diego Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. And I was just like, who thought that was a good idea? Who greenlit that?
But it has to be Argento's fault, because the existence of practical arms means he knew it was going to be a mantis all the time.
Yes.
It wasn't just somebody who surprised him later with like, this is what I come up with. You like?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't like, well, we use it a wolf. We use it a flies. We use it a owl. What do we got left? Like
what left?
This was in the script. This was from the beginning.
Is his only reference for praying mantises like from kaiju films?
Maybe he thinks they're all that big. Yeah. In his mind, that was a baby.
Right. Like he's never seen an actual praying mantis in his life. His only reference is like a couple of films from the 50s.
That is, he thinks like he's only ever seen them as well. So like he thinks ants are enormous. Like, he thinks, that's a good point. Maybe that's the case. I can only imagine maybe he just was like, had a stroke while he was writing this film. Like I can't imagine another rationale.
I can't either. He just ran out of animals, and like he only knows like 10 animals.
Maybe Oh man, it's just like
he just didn't have one big enough.
If it was a spider, that would have made more sense.
Yeah. If it was a bear.
Anything but a praying mantis. I don't know. It was a bold decision. I'll tell you, it was one of the more entertaining parts of the movie, which is not saying much, but just you're really just fighting sleep to see these small bright spots of Dracula killing the Enclave, Asia Argento's goof face. Big boobs, and then a praying mantis. There's 4 things, and then like an hour and 45 minutes of other stuff. Yeah. Even like when Dracula died, like when Lucy, I guess, not Lucy, Lucy's sister, whatever the hell her name is. Mina. She shoots Dracula. You don't even care at all.
No. Like he takes so long to die.
Oh man,
it's literally just him laying down. I'm trying to think of like the film, but like it's like somebody who's dying and they're just like gingerly laying down as they die.
Yeah, it feels like a trope. Yeah, where it's just like taking forever to die. It's just
boy. And then
after
I know what it is. It's Paul Rubens when he dies in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah.
His long ass death scene.
But it's played for laughs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's played for laughs. This is just him just really going, God,
like it's too spicy.
Right in the heart. Gives me the reflux.
Yeah. It's just, and then the balls of this movie to after it just drags everything out forever and ever and ever. You're so bored. You just want it to end. Then it has the balls to like kind of end abruptly. After Dracula's dead. And you're like, you almost like feel the sweet, sweet release of death that is just like, I'm accepting it and it's over and the credits roll. But it just is weird because everything else was so drawn out. You just expected that it was going to be drawn out for 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And then it just ends abruptly, but also ends with, Dracula's not actually dead. He's a wolf cloud now.
Yeah.
And like, that might have been like the only thing I could point out that was actually a 3D element, because the wolf cloud comes at the camera.
Yeah.
Everything else, nothing else looks like it's filmed for 3D.
That was the other thing I was confused about. And I don't have, much experience, but usually you can kind of see when things are going to be 3D a little bit.
Right.
I assumed the owl earlier on.
Yeah, the owl. Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that too.
But like, I really didn't notice anything else that jumped out as like, that's definitely 3D.
Yeah. And the like
maybe the boobs were 3D.
3D boobs.
Could be.
Could be that. Could be the 3D boobs.
I don't know how Glenn Danzig hasn't had some 3D boobs in any of his movies yet. Seems surprising.
Well, it's because 3D's passe now. So he just does boobs. Yeah.
Glenn Danzig doesn't play by the rules. Nobody tells Glenn Danzig what's passe.
Maybe his new film, it'll eventually get released. We'll see it.
Is that the Western one, or did that come out?
The Western werewolf one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been screening it at festivals, but I don't think it's come out.
Yeah,
in a meaningful way yet. Yeah. Yeah.
He's in it. He seems like he's in it a decent amount, which makes me want to definitely see it.
Makes me so excited. Like, for all of the things that Veronica was, it wasn't boring mostly. There's a lot of, the last third of that vampire story was fucking boring. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a lot of boobs in that.
If I had to watch Dracula 3D again, or Veronica, I'd watch Veronica again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dog shit, but I think I'd watch Veronica is genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but at least it wasn't boring. It could be terrible as long as it's not. That is the cardinal sin. It can't be boring.
Can't be boring. And like this movie's boring, and like everything is shot flat. You don't get any cool Argento POV setups. There's no cool camera rig setups that you can, glean from. You're never like in the POV of the fucking giant mantis that just flies around the village or anything. It's just
in the first 10 minutes, there's a couple of scenes where you're like kind of in like a weird stalking position, like out in the woods and stuff. You're like, oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, this might be right. Nope. You don't get any more of it. It just, that's it.
No, I think it was like probably the most, elaborate setup they had. Cause I think you're following Tanya, and I may or may not be wrong about this, but I think it's like the camera is on a dolly and the light is also on the dolly, because the light remains on her face as she moves through the woods, and everything else is kind of black around her. So like they're moving the light to move with her. So it's not like it's kind of like a weird motivated lighting, but everything else is just so fucking flat and boring, and all the acting is terrible. Like, we glossed over the last half hour with Rutger Hauer, but that's because it basically boils down to a scene of him with the priest and a scene of Mina with Dracula, and they just cut back and forth between that for the half hour.
Yeah, and a scene of like Van Helsing and Mina like just chatting, sitting in chairs and chatting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
because Rucker isn't getting enough money to really put his all into.
No, they had him for like a day. You could tell, like he just showed up for a day, shot a couple scenes, didn't really want to stand up if he didn't have to.
He may have just been on vacation and was like, I'm going to pay for vacation this way.
I could absolutely see that. It was beyond phoned in.
Yeah.
From his perspective.
And it's not like he was like in terrible health at this point, because just the year before he did hobo with a shotgun. So yeah.
And that's a pretty physically demanding role. And he just passed away recently, right?
I believe
2020 or something.
Yeah, 2020, I believe.
In the last few years.
2019, he passed away. So
yeah, so this was he's probably shot in 2011. So like, yeah, he was presumably in decent health at this point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, moral of the story: don't watch this movie. Fast forward to those parts we talked about. Right? Yeah. Go to, basically, if you go to an hour 14 in and watch that little scene of Lucy, and then go to the fucking, just fast forward till you see a giant praying mantis. You can't miss it. Watch that. There's maybe 2 other scenes that are entertaining. You don't feel like you gotta sit through this movie. We've done the heavy lifting for you guys on Argento's Dracula 3D.
If you have to watch something that's related to this movie, and it looks strikingly like the movie as well, watch Claudio Simonetti's official music video for Dracula 3D. It's called Kiss Me Dracula.
Sick. I guarantee that's more entertaining.
Yeah, it's got clips from the movie as well as just like filmed within the same castle and woods that they filmed the movie in, but it's him and his band playing. And got this goofy ass song about Kiss Me Dracula. It is,
I like some keyboards in the woods.
He's got it going. Claudio's got it going.
Yep. All right, guys. That was Dracula 3D by Dario Argento. Again, don't watch it. But do follow us on the social medias and go check us out on the old Patreon if you want to get on over there and give us a little review. We'll send you some stickers, all those good things. We got some fun minisodes coming up here. We got some fun guests. And then, like I said, we got that Fatal 4-Way coming in October. So if you have a movie that you absolutely want to make sure is on that Halloween wheel, it's going to be a lot of movies on there. Can't guarantee it's going to get picked, but we're going to put as many Halloween movies that take place during Halloween, around Halloween, or Halloween themed. Some of them aren't going to be on there, like Halloween and,
Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. They're not going to be on.
They're not going to be on there because we covered those already. We won't be doing Halloween 6 because I've covered that already on an episode, stuff like that, right? But anything we haven't covered, and there are a bajillion out there, anything that has to do with the holiday, if you want to get on that wheel, send us a DM, comment, do whatever, and we'll put it on that sumbitchin' wheel. And one of the 4 of us might get forced to listen. Or I'm sorry, to watch and defend whatever dog shit you throw our way. So, all right. Anything else I'm forgetting here? Anything else we got to do here? And what show's still happening?
No. Just, eternally baffled as to why this movie happened. And, I'm glad that this wasn't the end of his career, because this was like his last movie for a long time. Until 10 years later, and he did Dark Glasses. Dark Glasses is a fine movie to go out on. It's not his best. It's not amazing, but it is 100 times better than this piece of shit.
Yeah. Guys, don't watch this. If you're playing Tubi Roulette, just skip it. Just go to something else. It's absolute dog shit. All right. See you next Monday on another little mini-sode where we're going to be talking about, do we know we're doing next Monday yet?
No.
No, we're going to figure it out. It's going to be fun, though. All right, boys and ghouls. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
That was my Asian impression. And I'm dead.